Nintendo Entertainment Center don't believe the power. You will believe the control. Experience it for yourself. Next generation from Nintendo. Now you're playing with superpower.
Welcome back, Super Nintendo collectors, and I bet you never thought you'd see another Super Nintendo collection video from me ever again. It's been over 2 years since I last uploaded a video. Far too long. And guys, you know, I've wanted to upload videos, but because of my circumstances, you know, I broke my arm. If you follow this channel, you know I broke my arm. I was out of work for a year, so something had to give. And I wasn't about to sell my arcade collection because some of these games in here are extremely rare and I'll never ever see again. So, you know, something had to give, and unfortunately, and it pains me to say this, guys, but the Super Nintendo collection, a lot of it I had to sell off. So I think the last time I did a video, I had roughly around 200 games. So I'm down to about 57 now. And, you know, the whole purpose of this video really is to have some sort of plan going forward. What sort of regions are we going to be collecting for? Because obviously regions differ in price. The Japanese Super Famicom, some of the games are cheaper on that region, some of them are more expensive on that region, and I don't really care what region I get, really, as long as it's NTSC, you know, not PAL. I can't start collecting PAL unless it's got some sort of nostalgia for me, but it hasn't really, because back in the day, you know, my shop where I used to get my Super Nintendo games from, they had a mixture of regions. It didn't really matter. You know, we picked up whatever was available at the time. So I've had no allegiance to PAL whatsoever, and being, you know, a slower speed than the NTSC, it just doesn't seem any point in collecting for it. So it's, you know, got to be either North American or Super Famicom. Now, of course, a lot of the artwork for Super Famicom is better, but I do prefer having an instruction booklet to look through. That is important to me. I love looking through the instructions and reading about the game and the story and the controls. That's really important to me. But obviously some games it doesn't really matter. So some Super Famicom games it makes sense to buy. But you know, games like Hagane, which goes for ridiculous money on the North American region, is 150 quid on the Super Famicom. So it makes sense to go that route. And I'm gutted I sold that. I sold some fantastic games. I sold Pocky and Rocky 2, which I'm absolutely gutted about. That took me over a year to find. I've managed to keep hold of the first one. But Pocky and Rocky 2 I sold, which I'm gutted about. But I've got some good games left in here. I've got 57 of my favourites in here, and they're all in excellent condition. You know, Space Mega Force, fantastic game. Love playing that game. Turrican, another one of my favourites. Love to get Super Turrican 2. So many great games in here. Castlevania, Batman, Mystical Ninja, which I've been playing a lot recently. Actually, I'm not getting into it. I don't know what it is. It doesn't quite. I'm enjoying it, but I don't play it for long. Or maybe I should give it more time, because everyone bangs on about that being one of the best games on the Super Nintendo. Been getting really into Cybernator. Really like this game. Got a lot further in it than I did back in the day, so I'm really enjoying that. Axlay, one of my favourite Super Nintendo games of all time. I love the artwork for this. Love the music. It is, for me, one of the best shooters ever made. Super Ghouls and Ghosts, I've been playing a lot recently as well. Hard as nails, so frustrating, but I do love it. And we got Rendering Ranger, which is obviously the fan base one, made in a North American box. Rendering Ranger R2, brilliant game. If you haven't played this, one of the best games on the Super Nintendo. You know, side-scrolling action with horizontal shooting as well. Absolutely brilliant game. ActRaiser, they've just released a new version of this on the Switch. I'm not sure about that, but the classic original is the one to play, really. Super Mario World, I never sold this, luckily enough. This is super hard to find, because of course Super Mario World in the North American region got boxed with the console, so a lot of people didn't have a box version, they just had a loose cart of this. So this is extremely rare to have a box version of that. Super Metroid, my favourite. Also got a PAL version of that up there, big box version, which I had back in the day. Been playing a lot of Punch Out as well. Brilliant game. So yeah, I've got a few good ones left in the collection, and they're all in immaculate condition, most of them anyway. But I want to get the 200 back, if not more, add to this collection, because it is my favourite. And I managed to get the Super Nintendo sign back as well. I sold that, can you believe it? Sold it to a guy, and I messaged him a few months ago, and he hadn't done anything with it. It was stuck under his bed for the whole time he'd had it, for what, 2 years? And I said, mate, look, I really missed that sign. I regret selling it. I needed the money. Is there any chance you might sell it back to me? And he thought long and hard about it. And in the end, he said, you know, if I was going to sell it to anyone, it'd be you, Alex. And you know what? I need the money right now to do he had an extension to do on his house. So he needed the money. So he was willing to sell the sign back to me, which I was so chuffed about, getting this back in my room. And it looks brilliant up there on the wall. The only problem with this sign is it's got a fluorescent tube in it, and it gets so hot. So I've got to change that out and put a LED light in it, because it gets really hot in there. I'm a bit worried about that, actually. It gets super hot. But what a sign, you know. For my favourite console, I've got a shop sign, which is just unbelievable. And it just looks so cool in this room. I love that sign. So this video, guys, we're going to chat about really my plan of action going forward with the collection, what games to pick up. I've got some pickups to show you, and really just see where we're going with the whole collection. Maybe even bring back the old high score competition, because that was quite popular when I had that going. So guys, so straight off the back, I'm not a completionist. I never have been. Especially with something so expensive as a Super Nintendo, collecting for that system. I think you had to get in there very early, 10, 20 years ago, to have a complete collection now. But even then, I'd find that quite daunting, having a complete collection covering pretty much, it would cover the whole of that wall, if not more, with games that I'd never play. And that's not me. I've never been about that. I've always wanted games that I'll play over and over again, go back to and get better at. So for me, the Super Nintendo, there's, I don't know how many in a complete collection, 740 odd, I think it's something like that. For me, there's around about 200, 250 games on that's including the Japanese region as well, that I'd like to have in the collection, that are worthy of having on the shelf to play. So going forward, they're the games that I want to have. So it's just a question of what region I'll be picking them up for. Now recently, I've picked up some Super Famicom games, which I haven't showed you. I've had these in this room, in this collection, for about 3 months now, and I've just been waiting for this moment to do the video, really, to showcase these. They are fantastic games, and I thought I'd go with the Japanese region, because obviously one of these, Pop and Twinbee, which did come up PAL and North American, is really part of the rest of the series, really, which is the Paradius series. But obviously you didn't get all of these in the American or PAL regions, so it made sense to complete this little subset. I don't mind completing little subsets to get all of these in the Super Famicom region. And these are fantastic games, they really are. If you love your side-scrolling shooters, these are a must for your collection. And the box art for these are just absolutely incredible. Brilliant little games, they really are. And I think one of these Paradius games come out in the arcade. I can't remember which one it is. I think it's Paradius Da. I think it's that one. Or no, actually it's that one. I think this one came out in the arcade. So this is an arcade port, which is a fabulous game. Totally bonkers. Some really crazy end of level bosses. But yeah, so I picked up all 3 of these. I think I got all 3 of these in a bundle. So yeah, excluding Pop and Twinbee, these 3 here came to £120, which I think is an absolute bargain on eBay. And they're in really good condition. I've just got to get another jewel case for this one. So really chuffed to complete this little subset of Paradius games for the Super Famicom. The only thing I haven't done is sink a lot of time into these games. I haven't put a lot of time into them yet, but that is another thing on my agenda going forward, is putting a bit more time into the Super Nintendo, because it hasn't had enough love from me over the last couple of years. Mr. Do I picked up, really hard to find in the North American region. So easy to pick up for Super Famicom and relatively cheap as well, so it was a no-brainer to get this for Super Famicom. An excellent port of the arcade game. If you haven't got this for Super Nintendo, you must pick this up. It's brilliant, absolutely brilliant. I have showcased this already in probably one of my channel updates. It is Metal Warriors, a game I've been after for a very long time. Extremely rare game to find. Box complete, hence I've only got a loose copy of this. It's all legit. I've opened it up. When you're forking out a lot of money for these type of games, you want to check inside, guys, make sure the chip has got the right numbers on it. So this is a brilliant game. A lot of people compare this with Cybernator, maybe the sequel to Cybernator. I guess, yeah, there are good comparisons with that game. The kind of the whole way the mech warrior moves, and the levels are designed in a similar way of Cybernator. But the good thing about this game is it's got a versus mode. So if you've got a mate you can play this with, you can play a head-to-head mode with someone else. And it is a lot of fun, guys. So the plan is with this game is to get the original instructions, which I know I'm going to pay a lot for, but probably get a repro box, because all the boxes that I see coming up, even with the game complete, are in a pretty poor state. So I'll probably get a repro box for Metal Warriors, but I'm really chuffed to have that in the collection. If you haven't checked it out, well worth playing, guys. You can actually get out of the Mech Warrior. This is there's a bit of a puzzle game going on, because you can get out of the Mech Warrior and you've got a tiny little character that you can move around the screen, and you can finish the level with that little character and get back into another. If you find another Mech Warrior, you can get into that and control that Mech Warrior. So there's different Mech Warriors you can control, but it is a brilliant game for the Super Nintendo. Two other new pickups here. Now this is a game I sold, and can't believe what I got this for on eBay. What was it, last week? I think I bagged this. I think it was £37 or maybe £27. I can't remember. It was no more than £37. So this is quite a hard game to find. This is a game that was never released for the Super Nintendo. I think it's a fan-based game by the Super Fighter team. Managed to release this, get the ROMs and do like a box cart with this game. It's a little bit like Free Wonders, if you've ever played Free Wonders. Beautiful game to look at. The character design in this is unbelievable. I really like it. I think it's a fantastic game, and it's loved to have this in the North American box. Really cool game. If you haven't played it, guys, check it out. It is Nightmare Busters. Lovely box art. So chuffed to get this back into the collection. I think it's actually this is numbered. Let's have a look. Is it numbered? Pretty sure it is. Because they only made so many of these, and I can't remember how many they made. Can't see off the top of my head. I don't want to spend ages looking. But it's got, I'm not sure it's got a number on here somewhere. There's the cart. So it's a Super Famicom cart. Yeah, it just hasn't got a number on there, unfortunately. But yeah, brilliant game, and really pleased to have that back. So it's one of the games that I sold when I needed the money. And I think there was one other bidder bidding for this game with me, and just got lucky with it. So there are still bargains out there, guys. Another bargain. I thought this was an absolute bargain. 18 quid I paid for this. And this is another game, just doesn't come up. And I'm pretty sure last time I had this, I paid well over 50 quid for it. So this is what makes me think whether these games are coming down. This is Goof Troop. And this is a lovely little puzzle game for the Super Nintendo. And I think the Super Famicom version goes for a lot more than the North American version, so I'm happy to get this. Lovely little game. It's a Capcom game as well. So yeah, that is all my pickups, guys. Some nice ones there to start the collection back off again. And the Super Famicom collection off to a great start, really. Again, I'd like to get around about 100 Super Famicom games. There's some cracking games out there. Looking at these books, I've got some books here, guys, that I recommend. Actually, one I recommend more than the other. It's the Complete Snes Collector's Book and Ultimate Guide. And this is by Jeff Whittinghagen. And it's all right. It's okay, but it's nothing compared to this Super Famicom book. It's really just a reference book. It's got every single game in here for the North American region. And it's got a Super Famicom section at the back as well. So really, I just use this for reference, but it doesn't go into any real detail about any game as such. But it is nice just to see the box art, and you can tick the games off as you get them. There's little boxes down here, which I don't really like doing in a book. I've got my own list on my phone, which I use. I don't usually like marking up a nice book. But you can if you want to. It's got cart, box and manual boxes there you can tick for the game. But there are better books out there than this one, I think. What's his name? Pat, the Nes Punk. It's got a couple of good books out that are worth getting. But importing those from America costs more than a book. This, on the other hand, is a fabulous book. It's a Super Famicom, the box art collection. And this I do look in a lot. This actually came in a lovely cardboard box as well. But just looking at this, the box art in some of these games is just absolutely incredible. And there's a lot of games in here that I would love to get. I mean, that's got beautiful art. Demon's Blade, which is basically Demon's Crest for the Super Nintendo. I love the box art for that, but I'd still rather get the North American version just for the instructions. What else we got in here? So many games. Oh, here we go. So we got, don't ask me to pronounce it in Japanese, but basically that is Super Adventure Island, which did get a North American release, but Super Adventure Island 2 did not. Only got a Super Famicom release, so it makes sense if you want to complete this little subset of Super Adventure Island. It makes sense to get it on the Super Famicom region, which is what I'm going to do. Here's another good game, Taekwondo, which I used to own. Used to really enjoy playing this. Very tactical fight, a really good tactical fighter. I really enjoyed it. Quite slow pace, but you know, had to be quite tactical with what you were going to do. I really enjoyed that. There's one game in here I really want to show you. It's got an amazing box art. Super Turrican. See, Super Turrican got a Japanese release, but Super Turrican 2 didn't. So I've got to get Super Turrican 2 on the North American region, and it goes for silly money. Absolute silly money, but a fantastic game and worthy of being in the collection. What else we got in here? So many great games. Oh, Super Bonk. Now, I believe Super Bonk got a North American release, but Super Bonk 2 didn't. So it makes sense to get both of these on the Super Famicom. I'm not sure how much Super Bonk 2 goes for. I've never seen one come up, but I'd like to get that. What else we got? Super Aleste I've got, which is Space Megaforce. Back to the Future 2, which I believe only got a Super Famicom release. Never played it. I've heard good reviews about this, seen good reviews about the game. So I'd love to get that on the Super Famicom. What else we got? See, Street Fighter. I remember that being, only ever playing that Actually, no, tell a lie. I did play the PAL region of this I can't get my words out today, guys. Super Street Fighter. But when it first came out, it came out in Japan first, and it took about a year to get the PAL release for Super Street Fighter. So that's the one I played back in the day. But I remember seeing it for the first time on the Super Famicom region. So I might get that whole set as well as the North American region, because I just love the box art on that. What else we got? Sonic Wings. Sonic Wings. If you want to buy the American version of this, you're looking at crazy money. Probably the most expensive game to buy for the Super Nintendo. Over 1,500 quid. But if you pick up the Famicom version, Super Famicom version, you're looking around about 100, 150 quid. Which makes sense. So that's the one I'll be picking up. But I guess, you know, see, this is the trouble. If you're a completionist and you're going for a North American complete set, then you've got to get that. And it's just crazy money. Crazy money. Sonic Blastman and Sonic Blastman 2. I think Sonic Blastman 2... No, I think it did get a North American release. Either way, North American release of Sonic Blastman 2 is very expensive. In fact, I think even the Japanese version is very expensive, but I've heard it's a brilliant game. I didn't know actually it got an arcade release, which is interesting. What else we got here? There's one game in here I want to show you guys. Now, here, let me just say the Mega Man or Rockman series. I'd love to get the North American set of that, but again, crazy money. But Rockman, it would probably have to be on the Super Famicom, just so I can play it, because they're just crazy money. Remember I showed you Rendering Ranger, that fan-based American box? So here's the Japanese box art for Rendering Ranger. Again, one of the most expensive games on the Super Nintendo. And I know one guy in the UK that's got this. There's probably more people that have got it, but it is a super rare game. And one of the best games on the system. I would absolutely love to own the Japanese version of that, the original cart, because it is such a fantastic game. Popeye, I've never played. That is a Japanese release only, I think, as well. Phalanx. Now, you might have heard of this game. The box art on the Japanese cart is far superior than the American version, which I've got up there somewhere. It's awful. Look at this. So we're definitely swapping this game over. Look at that. An old man playing a banjo compared to that super cool Rocket Fighter on the front cover. So I'll definitely be looking to pick that one up. Games like Nosferatu, which is a little bit like actually no, I'm thinking of something else now. I think I did have that before. I had the Japanese version of that and it was brilliant, so I'll probably be picking that on the Japanese. Mother 2. What else? So many games here, guys, but there's one game in particular I want to show you. Oh, this is it. Maja Ru. Is it Maja Yu? And I've played this a lot and I love it. But it is another very expensive Super Famicom game. It only got a Japanese release. Really eerie, really weird creatures. I mean, look at the box art. It's so weird. But it's a super cool game. I'd love to own that. Again, very expensive, but you know, there are ways around it. If you go direct via Yahoo auctions, looping free, I'd love to get that. So many games. What else we got? I'll show you a few more that I'd like to get for the Super Famicom. Final Fight Guy is another expensive North American game. Clock Tower, I'd like to get that. Macross Scrambled Valkyrie, really good. Used to own that and sold it. I've got to get Ghouls and Ghosts or Ghosts and Goblins. I always get them mumbled up. Roger always corrects me on this. I always get them round the wrong way. I can't remember which way it is. Is it Ghosts and Goblins? It is Ghouls and Ghosts, yes. Just for the box art. It's got to be the Super Famicom version, definitely. In fact, I'd love to get a poster of that. I'd have that on my wall any day of the week. Oh, here's a cool one that I used to own. Choi Anarchy. Total bizarre. Beat 'em up. Very camp. Guys in bathtubs firing bubbles at you and all sorts of weirdness. Blazion. Another good shooter. Oh, here's a great game. And I know my mate Roger's got this. It is Battle Mobile. Really cool car game. Bit like Spy Hunter. Plays a bit like the classic arcade game Spy Hunter. Awesome box art. I'd love to get that. I remember he picked that game up at, I think it was Revival. Got such a good deal on it. I was so jealous. Because it is one of the games I've always wanted. So yeah, so many Super Famicom games and so many North American games I'd like to get back in the collection going forward. Is there any games I've missed out, guys? Let me know in the comments below, because I'd love to know what games I'm missing out on. And games that I want to spend more time in, which I haven't had a lot of time in recently. Magic Sword, which is a lovely arcade conversion. I played a little bit of it last week. The only thing I don't like about it is you can pick which level you start in. So I'm not sure how that works, whether you start off, you can pick sort of a little bit like Tempest, you can pick the hardest level right from the get-go. But whether you're powered up at that level, I'm not sure. I'll have to give it more time. But I do love the music. And it is kind of got that whole Dungeons and Dragons feel about it, which I love. So I'd like to spend more time in that. Want to spend more time in Ghouls and Ghosts. I want to get better at this. Super frustrating game, but absolutely love it. And I would like to play the Mega Drive version, because the Mega Drive version is more true to the arcade game. Axley, probably one of my favourite games on the Super Nintendo. I want to complete one day. I've got to the end of level boss. I've never finished it. We did a high score competition on this game and absolutely loved it. I had this back in the day, but never got past the second level, I think it was. But since doing the high score challenge, I managed to get to the end of level boss and never defeated it. So I'd love to complete this game one day. Cybernator, another game I'd love to get further in. Just an amazing game. The music in this is just absolutely incredible. It really draws you in. Action platform game. The sprites in this, the explosions, like you've never seen before. Just absolutely incredible. They cram so much into this game. Shadowrun is another game I'd love to complete. Never completed this game. I know this is one of my Paul Monahan's favourite games. And it is one of my favourite games, but I've never completed it. So I'd love to complete this one day, and I will do. It's my goal to finish that game. UN Squadron, or Area 88. Love this game as well. Find it really hard. But I've never played it on my Sheikah arcade stick, so I want to play this sat down properly at my desk here and get as far into this game as possible, because I absolutely love it. Brilliant game by Capcom. Absolutely fantastic shooter. And last and not least, another game that I missed back in the day, and I know you're going to find this incredible, but really haven't played a lot of this at all, and it is F-Zero. And I love it. I do. What I've played of it, I absolutely love it, but I'd love to finish this and get much more into this. This is actually a sealed copy, and I'm not a sealed collector in the slightest. I think I must have picked this up cheap. I think it is because it's the Player's Choice Edition. There's a lot of these going around, but it's a sealed copy of F-Zero, which is quite nice. But I do have a loose cut up there, which is what I play. It's just nice to have the odd sealed one. If you can pick them up as a bargain, why not? You know, but as a rule, I'm not really a sealed collector. So, yeah, that's it, guys. I mean, going forward, I'm excited about the collection. I'm excited about getting back into it. Buying some games that I never had back in the day, and being a lot more selective about the games, picking it up going forward. I did pick up some dud games last time, and I had a lot of shelf fillers up there, which I never went back to. And I don't want to do that this time. I really just want to have games up there that I'm going to play and enjoy time and time again. So that's it, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. I've made a fairly good return, I hope, with a few good pickups. But look forward to future videos, and hopefully next month I'll have some more pickups. So that's it, guys. Let me know in the comments what games I've missed, what games I should get. There's plenty out there. So many great games for Super Nintendo. Hope you enjoyed the video, guys, and I'll see you on the next one.